So when was the last time you pulled back the covers and had a really good look at your rent roll? And I'm not talking about how many properties you have under management. I'm talking about, are you charging the correct fees? Do you have bonds for all your properties? Are your routine inspections up to date? Have you looked at where you are missing valuable revenue or putting your business at risk? Welcome to the Property Management Podcast. I'm your host, Kylie Walker. Now, can I ask you a quick favour before we dive into today's epic episode? We all know how important reviews are for businesses these days, and mine is no different. If you could spare just a minute to follow, rate and review this podcast, it would mean the absolute world to me. If you are anything like me, you think you know your rent roll numbers. Well, I thought I did until I had a rent roll health check, and I was quite literally shocked. The money I was leaving on the table was astounding, and this is not something that I'm proud to admit. There were missed management fees, let fees, advertising and lease renewal fees not being charged, and properties even without bonds. And all of this was happening despite monthly audits being conducted in my business. So how did I uncover all these gaps in my valuable income? Well, I had a rent roll due diligence from my good friend Tarsi, aka the Rent Roll Queen and founder of the Tarsi Way, a specialist in rent roll due diligence, business valuation and management rights. The Tarsi Way is the innovative force driving the real estate industry. With 25 years of business and real estate acumen, they find gaps and risks in your agency to find undiscovered value. If you'd like to book your business in for a rent roll due diligence, head to the link in the show notes and mention That Property Mum for a 10% discount. Now, you know, when it comes to running a business and a property management business, there are a lot of moving parts. You've got legislation to comply with, you've got training, you've got systems, you've got procedures, and quite frankly, there is a lot on your plate. So it is very easy, and I have been guilty of doing this, to stick your head in the sand when it comes to knowing what is really going on in your business, and especially your rent roll. Do you know what your rent roll is currently worth? Do you know if you are charging the correct fees? Do you know if your routine inspections are up to date? Are the bonds being held for every property? Do you have up-to-date leases? Is your paperwork being stored somewhere safe? If you are shaking your head to any of these questions, then this episode is for you. My guest today is Tarsi Hynes, and she is the founder of the Tarsi Way. She's like a fairy godmother for real estate business owners. She has waved her magic wand inside my own business as well. And let's just say my ego was dented. My business wasn't running as smoothly as I believed, and I was missing out on valuable income. Some properties were way overdue for routines, and it was really eye-opening, to be honest. And there was a lot of things that I simply didn't know. And you see, all that stuff that you don't know, well, she does know it. In fact, she's had over 25 years of experience valuing rent rolls, conducting audits and due diligence. She's run her own real estate business, and she also helps business owners buy and sell rent rolls, all while juggling a young family. And I'm exhausted just thinking about all that she does. But if you have a niggle that maybe some things aren't being done quite right, or something is amiss inside your business, or you just want peace of mind that everything is set up and running as it should be, then you need to listen up. Hey there, Tarsi. Thank you for joining me again on the Property Management Podcast. It's your second time you've joined me. Now, for those people who might not have listened to your other episode, can you just let us know a little bit about yourself and what you're currently doing?
Thank you for having me on the show again. I really appreciate it. So my name is Tarsi, and I am the director of the Tarsi Way. I specialize in real estate rent roll valuations. So rent roll valuations, management right valuations, rent roll due diligence as well. I offer that as a major service in my business. Real estate agency consultancy. And I also have a buyer's agency service for time poor real estate principals who are looking to buy a rent roll. So that's me in a kind of nutshell. My mission is to assist business owners in running affluent and efficient businesses.
That is amazing. Now, you've been sitting in a lot of real estate offices, and I know you've kind of changed your business and it's going more digital now, but you have over the last couple of years spent a lot of time in different real estate businesses around the countryside. Can you share with us some of the things that you've seen happening and what's going on, what the trends are, what's working, what's not working?
Okay, sure. That's a lot in that. So with real estate, I'm still going out to businesses. I still consult to businesses. I'm still working behind the scenes. It's just that a lot of businesses are now moving towards a cloud-based kind of system. And what I'm kind of seeing is while we're taking it to that kind of level, we've come through a very, very, very buoyant sales market. So we've come through a buoyant sales market. While we're focusing on that, property management has just been ticking along. And now we're kind of trying to, as a business owner, hold our head above water. Let's put it that way. We're still trying to run sales. We're trying to run a property management department with a labor force. And let's face it, that is very limited at the moment. And what I'm seeing is there's some agencies are having very bad brand damage because they're relying on property managers to manage and maintain a portfolio and not kind of seeing what's actually going on behind the scenes and not understanding where to look. And I'm also seeing where systems and processes and procedures are very much not being utilized within a business, whether that business has those processes and procedures in place and has identified them and related them and given those to their property managers or not is a different story. But I'm seeing a lot of different places behind the scenes that, routine inspections aren't being done. I'm seeing bonds being missed. I'm seeing, entry condition reports being missed. I'm seeing just the normal things that we need to do in property management, which is a process, following the life of a landlord from the minute you get them right through to the finding a tenant and looking after a tenant, looking after a landlord, right to the very end of that landlord leaving you. There's processes in between that are not being done correctly. And it's just because we're time poor.
Yeah. And that's really worrying for business owners in particular. Do you think it's the business owners are the ones that are time poor, or it's the property managers that are time poor at the moment?
It's both. It's, as a business owner, so talking specifically to a business owner, we're starting to see a lot of business owners get burnt out. Like they're trying to maintain a business, make sure all their overheads are paid, paying their property managers, looking after staff. So you've got all of that going on over here and managing sales. Then you've got, or even if you just focused on property management, you're still running people, right? And people are away all the time. So we've got all of that going on. Then you've got property managers who are trying to give great customer service to landlords, to tenants, to tradespeople, we've got so much going on. And we always have to remember the amount of legislation that we have to adhere to in real estate. It's not just, the Property Act or anything like that we've got. Sorry, I'm just doing that in general. So the Real Estate Act, it's tenancy laws, and those keep changing on us. It doesn't matter what state you're in, they're constantly changing. So you've got all of that going on. And property managers they're doing the best they can with the knowledge and power that they've got, but they're doing the same thing every single day. So at some point in time, and even as a business owner, you go cross-eyed. Things get missed. We are human. Things get missed. And not only that, we're trying to do our job with all the emotional stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And that has to be taken into consideration. We've all got stuff. Yeah. And we're all doing our best. So when you talk about time poor, we are talking just about, in general, human nature.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is something that's, a lot of people have been talking about it in the industry for a while now, and people are genuinely struggling and in all facets and at all levels of real estate at the moment. So what are some solutions, do you think? What do we need to do better or differently to make sure that we don't, get more property managers leaving the industry? Because like you said, we are in a shortage at the moment. And what do we do to make sure that, business owners can function and run businesses at their optimum?
Well, there are a few little solutions that I've created a what's called a rent roll due diligence health check, which goes behind the scene of 18 managements and also the software that's being utilised by the property management team. And that will provide an overview of where things are kind of being missed. Again, it's only over 18 properties, but I find that even when I do a valuation, let's say I will do a spot check just on a management agreement and a tenancy agreement. I don't go into any detail like I would in a due diligence. And I'm already finding discrepancies just in those two forms. So when you kind of go into, that's what I'm finding in a valuation versus what I'm finding in a due diligence, it will give you where you need to kind of focus on, where do we need to train people? Where do we need to help people? How can we get our processes and procedures running right? Well, you can't get your processes and procedures running right when you don't actually know what's actually going on in your business and where to actually look, or how to actually look. Let's face it, it's about how. So the process that I've created and evolved over the years, that's been created through business valuation, that's been created through rent roll due diligence, and also owning my own agency and all the mistakes that I had made behind the scenes. Like there's things that I wish I had known. There's help that I wish I had gotten, and there's things that if I had more time, because let's face it, I was running a valuation business plus my agency and a young family, because I think Eli was 9 weeks when I bought the real estate agency, which was, anyways, I wish that I had done things different. So definitely going behind the scenes of the property management portfolio in detail and having a look of what's actually going on will give you where you need to focus for your property management team. And with your property management team, I guess it's having a little bit of empathy, knowing that at the moment they're probably carrying the weight of other people because they're away. They're carrying weight because maybe the process and procedures aren't established, and they're just doing the best with the knowledge that they've got at the moment. They might need some more training. You just don't actually know. And as a business owner, it is dedicating some quality time to the property management department and sales department where you can focus. It's not just a meeting once a week or once every 2 weeks or something like that happens, and being like, right, where is it? We need to know our stats. We need to know what's going on behind the scenes, and we need to know where we need to step in and help.
So when you are conducting those due diligences, I really struggle saying that word. When you do them, so what are some of the stuff that you are finding, or the most common things that are not being done properly inside business? Is it their Form 6s are not filled out properly? Is it the correct fees aren't entered in? What are those themes of mistakes that somebody listening could maybe go and check them after they listen to the podcast?
Well, fees are definitely somewhere where they need to be checked. And if you've got a lot of properties in your rent roll, trying to check through all of those and making sure that they are being charged can be a massive task. So if you want to, it depends on what you want to focus on. If you're focusing on making sure that your management agreements are done correctly, well, then it's reaching out to people. That number one, I probably reach out to somebody. I'm here, that can actually check your Form 6 and be like, yeah, you're making these discrepancies in these Form 6s, which it's not about, it may not come back to ever bite, but what if it does? What if you get that disgruntled landlord and they've had a gut full of, something's gone wrong. They've been asking property managers to do maintenance or something like that. They're very unhappy. They haven't received that communication, and they go to leave, and then they go to somebody and go, hey, this is my Form 6. What if they can pinpoint exactly where, there's a loophole right there. I'm going for the agency. Let's face it, we get sued all the time in our industry. So it's one of those where you just go, okay, that's probably a place I would go first. Number one, that's your management agreement. Then you can, then it is about checking the fees and charges and making sure that you're upholding, because at the end of the day, you have a bottom line that you have to adhere to. So you've got all these overheads that keep going, and you've got people who are constantly asking you for more money. because of the workload that they've got. Property manager, I don't know when you start. I think we started similar times, but a property manager was only earning, a senior was getting 45,000. And that was considered good money back then. Well, that's not like that now. We're talking 70 plus, right? So when you kind of look at and that's to me, a short space of time. And the legislation is going to constantly change. So there are areas where you want to make sure that you are receiving all the fees and charges that are in your management agreement.
Property inspections, entries, exits, incomings, outgoings, routine inspections, whatever you call them, you have to do them. And I remember when I first started as a property manager, you had to handwrite the reports and take notes on a digital camera, then upload the photo memory card to your computer and hope and pray that they weren't all blurry or your computer had enough memory to store them. But gone are those days, thanks to Inspection Express. Now, Inspection Express is not only the number one tool used by leading property managers across Australia and New Zealand, but the leader in groundbreaking new tech in the industry with the launch of 360-degree virtual tours. Now, virtual tours is upping the ante, giving landlords, owners and directors unparalleled 360-degree virtual access to their properties. So head to the link in the show notes to book in your free demo with Inspection Express. So what about some stuff like bonds or, because they're obviously...
Bonds are always going missing. And bond top-ups are never being done correctly. So it's an area but there is a certain way to make sure that that's being found, and that's part of the due diligence process that we offer. That's the source of the service, right? So it is making sure that those top-ups are being collected. So if anything does go wrong, you've got to make sure that you are collecting bonds. Make sure you're doing routine inspections too. That's another major area where we're seeing things not being done correctly. And paper management.
Get rid of paper?
Oh, my goodness.
Get rid of paper? Are you an advocate of that?
You might be paperless. You're still not managing it correctly. You're still not saving things where they need to be. We've got a whole saving procedure, and I'm happy to share that with the world because it's very specific and it's very detailed. However, if somebody left tomorrow, you want to be able to find where all that paperwork is, and you don't want to be spending time if you have to go to QCAT looking for it. So paper management is another huge one. Actually, my girls constantly complain. Every time we go into an office, they're like, oh my God, this hasn't been looked after, that we can't find this. We're searching for entry condition reports. We can't find them. We're searching for leases. We can't find them. Because you think about it, there's so many different programs now. You've got DocuSign or Adobe Sign, and then you've got you've got IRE, and you're tracking things through there, and it's all over the place. Bring everything back to one central location, whether that is on your Google Drive or another drive similar, like a cloud-based drive, or if you are and your property management program would be really great if you can store everything in there, because it makes life so much easier when you can find things.
Absolutely.
Can I share one more little thing?
Yeah. No, go for it.
Because this drives us a little insane. So when they've done their leases, we're even seeing things being missed where they're not even updating the details in the property management software. So you've got a brand new lease and the details haven't been updated. So you're not collecting it's saying that you need to update the rent, and that's been missed. There are
So one of your statistics that you've put on your website is that there's actually up to 19% on average, I think you're finding, revenue left on the table in real estate businesses. Is that right?
And that's your goodwill. It's incredible. Like the stuff that we find when we get to go behind the scenes, and I've been behind the scenes of thousands of businesses. That statistic that I gave you was a business. I've actually been through other businesses, and the one business, every single commission rate was completely incorrectly entered into the system. Every single one. They were missing out on so much income. it didn't match their management agreement. And I had only gone through a handful of management agreements when I realized what was going on. So we had to rectify that part for them.
Another thing I think I know that is quite common, and it has happened in my own business when you've done due diligences for me. My goodness.
Just call it DD.
DDs for me. And that was even fees not being entered in at all. There'd been a free management period and that had expired, and then the fees hadn't been entered in. And that was, I think, I hate to admit it, but I think there was one that had been nearly over a year. We hadn't been collecting fees on the property. So
it's so common. Those things get missed all the time. And it is simply just going back and having a look. Like, any business owner can quickly go and extract just their fees and charges and make sure whatever's at a zero, ask the question. Because there might be a valid reason why it's at zero, but not for 12 months. And if you are offering management free fee periods of 3 months or a month or something like that, there needs to be a system in place, a procedure that you and your team follow where you make sure you go back and you update that fee. Because a lot of the time, a lot of people, it wasn't just you, it happens regularly. Hey, why is this at zero? Are you still managing this property? Oh my God, we forgot to re-enter it in. We gave them a management fee period and we haven't put it back on. All the time.
Crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. So your health check is a smaller service. It's not a full due diligence. Got it right. Third time lucky. And so you do that behind, you don't need to go into the office. You can just do that kind of behind the scenes if you've got access to the software. How does that kind of work?
And even if you haven't gone cloud-based yet, we can still do the service because it is a behind-the-scenes service. What I love about due diligence, your property management team don't even need to know that we exist. And that's the key for you as a business owner. So yes, it can all be done behind the scenes. If you don't run a cloud-based system, I will just ask you to scan through your files. So we've at least got the files and then we can go through it from this end. Just on anyone who hasn't gone cloud-based yet, if you are looking to go cloud-based, we do offer that service to take you cloud-based as well, so that you're not taking, because it is very time-consuming to take it from A to B. And if you're relying on property managers to do that correctly, trust me, it doesn't get done correctly. I've seen it 1,000 times. So we are here to support you. So back to the health check, everything's done behind the scenes. It just means on those 18 files, I don't do a key audit. That's the only difference. But you do get the 30-minute Zoom with me because we do make the recommendations. You do get the findings of what we found within that portfolio. And then we can direct you where you need to look more. And if we find serious discrepancies, then we need to have serious conversations.
Fantastic. I think that's a brilliant service. And I think helping agencies go from going to cloud-based software is a great service as well. It is an absolute nightmare. And if I never have to go through that again, it'll be too soon. Now, can you let us know? I always love to share something personal development wise. And I know you are a huge advocate in that space. So what is your latest personal development? What have you been doing?
Oh, I've been doing a lot of learning. So for me, my personal development, look, I still go and get coaching. I still do everything for my emotional well-being, where it's, going for a walk on a beach, and I try to get to the gym. I try to do all those types of things, but sometimes I don't get to do that. But at the moment, I am on like a massive education climb where I'm trying to learn different skill sets that I haven't achieved or especially in marketing. I mean, we've spoken about that. So there are a lot of things, which means a lot of books, a lot of, speaking to different coaches and kind of just, it's a different direction for me now. I've done a lot of the emotional work over the last 6 years. So for me now, it's more about education.
Fantastic. Now, how can somebody get in touch with you? I will share links to your services in the show notes.
Thank you.
But what's your preferred method of contact?
give me an email. It's Tarsi, Tarsi, at thetarsiway.com. Otherwise on 0420 909 940. Email is the best because I can be in somebody's office, which makes it very difficult to phone you back sometimes, but I will phone back once I've obviously finished from those offices, and I can give you a phone call, and that's no issue at all. But if you send an email, I can touch base.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tarsi. It's great to get that advice. And, I'm sure there'll be some nervous people probably listening to this episode that will go and dive in and check out some of their parts of their business that they might be a little bit worried about. And you do have a bit of a gut instinct at times and a bit of a niggle when things, something's not quite right. So I think your service is so valuable to address that. So thank you so much. I think
if you've got any niggle, that's where you need to reach out, because the time it takes you to do what we do, what we specialize in, you're going to do it in a way that we've got a whole process behind it. So take the headache out. Let us do that for you, and then we can go. Now we can direct you where you actually need to go. That little gut instinct is, because trust me, I can walk into a business and I've already got where I need to look without even, it's just one of those things. After so long, you're just gifted with it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tarsi.
No, thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Time management is precious for property managers, and with so many tasks to do every single day and week, have you ever thought about how much time do you waste in an average day troubleshooting annoying maintenance questions? Let me tell you, it's a lot. But there is a solution: Rental Heroes. They are the #1 natural language AI conversation platform for real estate. What does that mean? Well, they have artificial intelligence automation that deals with all your tenant maintenance inquiry. It even logs a job into your software, all without you having to do a thing. And if you thought that was amazing, wait till you try their chatbot that collects your leads on your website 24/7. Now, we all need a hero in our life, so make yours Alex. Head to the link in the show notes and book in your free demo. If you love the Property Management Podcast, you've got to check out the PM Collective, hosted by my friend, Ashley Goodchild. She discusses things like how to have awkward conversations about pay rises, yes please, how to raise the bar in property management, and why so many people just seem to fall into the industry. You've got to love stories like that. She'll leave you with great advice, actionable steps to take, and let you know that you're not alone in any of the challenges that you face. So be sure to check out the PM Collective wherever you get your podcasts. I know your time is valuable, so thank you for spending it here. Now, if you're someone who is serious about growing your property management business and you'd like to learn the systems that I've put in place inside my own business that consistently brings in new management leads every single week without me having to do anything, then go to the show notes and take a look at the options for working further with me. Whether that's an online course, one-on-one coaching, or free resources on my website. Until next time, my friend.